my favorite title for Mary is Our Lady of Guadalupe. And the whole reason that we have this title for Mary as Our Lady of Guadalupe is because of a man named Saint Juan Diego. Now, Juan Diego wasn't born with the name Juan Diego. He was born with the name Cuauhtémoc, which is a bit of a mouthful for someone like me, but he was born into the Aztec Empire, which was this massive and powerful culture that ruled over Mexico before the Spanish invaded. Now, when the Spanish invaded, they conquered the people and they really treated them in a pretty abusive way. But one of the good things that the Spanish did when they came to Mexico is they put an end to the Aztec practice of human sacrifice. You see, the Aztecs worshipped many different false gods, and they thought that these gods needed the blood of humans as a gift, as an offering. So they would send out their warriors into the villages surrounding them, and they would capture men, women, and children, would bring them back to their cities, and then offer them up as human sacrifice to these false gods. And this was the religion that Cuauhtémoc, who would one day become Saint Juan Diego, was raised in. He worshipped these false gods along with all of his people. Now, the Spanish put an end to human sacrifice, and they brought in missionaries to teach the people about Christianity. But not surprisingly, most of the Aztecs weren't interested in becoming Christians because they saw this as the religion of their conquerors, as the religion of these Spanish who had enslaved them and had treated them so poorly. And so most of the Aztecs decided to stay pagans. But Cuauhtémoc was different. He decided to become a Christian and was baptized with the new name Juan Diego. And when he was in his 40s, Juan Diego was traveling and he heard a voice, someone calling him, and he went and he actually had a vision of Our Lady of Guadalupe, of Mary, the mother of Jesus. And she appeared to him on a hill that the Aztecs had formerly used to sacrifice people to a mother goddess. And she explained to him who she was, and she told him that she wanted him to go to the bishop and tell him to build a shrine on that hill to her. So Juan Diego went off to tell the bishop, and the bishop didn't really believe him. And he said, "Look, Juan Diego, if Mary is really appearing to you, then come back to me with a sign that will prove it." So Juan Diego went back to Mary, and there was this back and forth, and eventually Mary gave him these roses that came originally from Spain to take to the bishop. And this was a miracle because it was December. It was way too late for any flowers to be blooming. And so Juan Diego brought these flowers wrapped up in his tilma, which was like a robe that he would wear on the outside. And he brought these to the bishop, and he showed the bishop these flowers, which was exactly the sign that the bishop was looking for, even though Juan Diego didn't know it. But even more amazing was the fact that on his tilma was miraculously imprinted an image of Our Lady of Guadalupe, this beautiful image of Mary dressed as the Aztecs were dressed in a way and with symbols that the Aztecs could understand. That she was not a mother goddess, but that she was the mother of God. And she was calling them to leave behind their false and bloodthirsty gods and turn instead to the God who had become man in order to shed his blood for them. And because of this miracle, millions and millions of Aztecs converted en masse to Christianity. And Mexico is now known as one of the most Catholic countries in the world because of Our Lady of Guadalupe and her messenger, Saint Juan Diego. Now, what I love about Saint Juan Diego is he's just this simple guy. He's not a polished speaker, but he was just devoted to Jesus and the Blessed Mother. And she used him to change an entire culture, a culture that honestly looked like it was beyond saving. And that is exactly what Mary can do with our culture. In our culture, we sacrifice children through abortion, just like the Aztecs sacrificed humans to their false gods. And yet Our Lady of Guadalupe and Saint Juan Diego are praying for us to go out and change the culture, just like they did back in Mexico. Saint Juan Diego, pray for us.